usually happens, what usually happens in the trauma space, or when we go through this kind of a situation personally or even collectively as we are going through now, is we are in a regulated space when we are in this area called window of tolerance. Okay. Now here the body, it's in its optimal state. Its energy is integrating, which means your digestion gets the necessary energy, your reproductive system gets the necessary energy, all parts of your body, of your brain that require energy according to what you're doing. If you're resting, other things get the energy. If you're working, maybe that requires more energy. So in its optimal state, the body works with the systems in a regulated way. You're able to be rational, you're able to feel emotion, you're able to mentally engage with everything. But what happens when a personal situation hits or a collective situation hits, and or this could simply be a pattern that is with us for the longest time. Some of us stay in a dysregulated state for very, very long periods of time. What happens is that the body loses its optimal state of function. The nervous system gets dysregulated, and we either move into hyperarousal or hypoarousal. Now let's understand what happens when you move into hyperarousal. In hyperarousal, you are overwhelmed, like a lot of us are today, and the distress is very evident. There is overactivity, fidgetiness, restlessness, anxiety, worry. The mind is clouded, and you're not able to process information clearly because energy has gotten scrambled because it has moved into hyperarousal. It's become very aroused. Now, this is typically the fight and flight response that we say, where you feel like just doing something, you can't stop thinking about something, you're stuck in that thinking process, and you're just very, very anxious. Now, what takes us back into the window of tolerance is regulating the nervous system, whether it's through mindfulness, grounding, breath. Similarly, we have another state called hypoarousal. The other thing the body does to protect itself when it's too much is it freezes, it shuts down, it disconnects. It says no more. And that could mean you go numb, you stop, and some of us are going through that. We are not affected. Even though we know so much is going on around us, we just like, I don't want to watch news, I'm not affected, I'm not involved. Because the system is staying away, it's disconnecting. And this is not so much a conscious, rational decision to watch news less. This is not what I'm talking about. That's a good decision mostly, especially if you tend to be in hyperarousal. But this is more the inner disconnection. We feel as if it's all happening, but it's not happening to us. This happens in dissociation responses when there is too much shock, when there is too much to handle, then the system goes into a shutdown. Now, both these ways are actually the body's ways of handling trauma. It's not that these are not okay. In the short term, they may be okay. It's trying to handle the difficulty that has come in some way by shutting it down, by actively working on it, ruminating on it. But what is not helpful is that the system is out of its window of tolerance. For a long time, the system goes out of the window of tolerance, it's going to get into physical disorders, physical problems. Already we are facing some of the physical dysregulations like diarrhea, stomach cramps, heavy, like a lot of heaviness or tightness in the chest, can't breathe, shortness of breath, so many things.